You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. You roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lanes. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, all wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin, and got a big show planned for you guys tonight. Melo is going to be joining me shortly, I'm sure. But if you're in here, hit that like button, jump in the chat. If you're not in there, we're going to talk about some Ohio State football today, a little bit of recruiting news. The defensive line recruiting, I know we're up in a roar, up in a panic right now. There's sides of it I agree on, sides I don't. This has brought about a question with Ohio State's NIL. What the heck are we doing? Is somebody doing something wrong here? Is it somebody at fault? Is their strategy messed up? I'm going to give you my opinion on that. And I'm just returning from the OT7 finals. I went there and with SFE, so got to hang out with a lot of cool people. Met some big time Buckeyes, so I'm going to give you guys, a little bit of rundown of everything I experienced there. But I see a big time issue right now with something on my screen, and it's got to be fixed. Are you guys seeing the issue that I'm seeing? That it can't happen. There's a certain color on the screen right now that it's just somebody broke on here and trolled me and changed that for sure, because I would never allow that color to be on here. So here we go. So I have we're going to go over our current defensive line class as well. I have all our defensive linemen that are committed. I have their tape pulled up. Gonna wait on Melo to get here. So before then, I just kind of want to go over my weekend with everybody, man. It was an amazing weekend. Kind of got an inside look at SFE, South Florida Express, the OGs of the 7-on-7, man. Brett Getz invited me down there, the founder of SFE. Shout out to him. Had an amazing weekend, man. Got to hang out with, Caden Dixon Wyatt. His mom were there, current wide receiver, Buckeye commit, one of the best in the nation. Of course, if you follow SFE, you know all the players that are on there. Drove the van around for a little bit, so I got to interact with these guys. That was really cool. And SFE had a bowling event as well, and Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, and Mylan Graham were there. So I got to meet all them. Didn't like sit down and kick it with them. They're there doing their thing, but snapped a picture with them real quick. Met JJ's little brother, Angelo, just received an offer to the Buckeyes. He's going to be coming on the show shortly. And as you guys might guess, I formed some relationships on this trip. So we're going to have a lot of people coming on the show, some Buckeye targets, some current Buckeyes, some more parents. So I'm excited for that to happen here at the Buckeye Boys channel, man. We love what we do, man. We love, diving in, getting to know these recruits, getting to hear their stories of where they came from and where they're heading to. So it's really cool, man. I shared some pictures on Buckeye Boys Twitter over there with some of the players I got to take my pictures with. So it was really cool, man. Got to talk to, a lot of recruits that are going through the process right now and get their ideas and their thoughts, to some parents as well, got their ideas and their thoughts on the process. And, I'm not going to be going over anything specific tonight, but just giving you guys a little background of, I'm very intrigued at the recruiting side of things. So I've spoken with several people. I've spoken with coaches, parents of big time recruits, man, and several of them. And have got this idea in my mind of what's going on now in the recruiting world with the house settlement and the NIL and the revenue sharing and all that stuff. So we'll dive into that a little bit as well. But, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, man. And that's defensive end recruiting, right? So we went after Luke Wafel, did not get his commitment. USC came in and bought him out. Then everybody zeroed in on Carter Meadows. We lost that recruitment to the team up north. And now we're down to, it seems like, Landon Barnes and KJ Ford. And Landon Barnes got a crystal ball to go to Ole Miss by none other than, you already know who. I'm not even going to say it. So we'll see where that lies, man. But I kind of want to go over, I'm just going to dive into it, man. The commits we have right now, right? And kind of dissect, why are we so upset about missing on Luke Wafel and Carter Meadows and things like that? And I'm going to speak from a point of like where my mind was, where my mind used to be, and kind of where it still can be from time to time. But when you see prospects like Luke Waffle and Carter Meadows, man, it's really hard not to stare at the ranking. It's really not to hype yourself up about it and get so excited about the ranking of these players. You see their measurements and their weight and stuff, and you get all excited about it. And I wonder how many people go back and they watch the film and they know what they're watching, and that is what they're basing their decision off of. Because the truth of the matter is I don't care what a recruit, and I'm sure everybody would agree with this statement. I don't care what a recruit is ranked as long as he goes on the field and shows out, right? So if we could fast forward, right, and find out what these guys are going to do, that's ultimately what we're looking for, right? So we automatically connect high recruiting rankings to success on the field, right? And low recruiting rankings with less of a chance to have success on the field. And that is in my eyes, a skewed way of thinking. Getting this close into recruiting like I have over the past year, I've got to see things firsthand. I've got way more knowledgeable about the game, man. I've got a way deeper understanding of how these recruits are even rated, right? Like, where do these come up with? How can one possibly do this? And to answer that question, it's a bunch of opinions put together, right? A bunch of opinions um, that if you follow a certain guideline and say, okay, we want a 6'6", 220-pound defensive end out of high school, then you go back and you look and you say, hey, have all 6'6", 220-pound 5-star defensive ends succeeded in college? Not at all, man. In 2021, the number one defensive end, I'm not going to name any names here, but has done nothing. Nobody has heard of this recruit, right, since he came into the class. 22, right? The number one defensive end in the 22 class has 8 total tackles throughout his entire career, okay? I got to give a shout out, man. Uncle Buck over on the Scoop message board. If you're not over there, go check that out. Shout out Uncle Buck. This is all his information he gathered. He went through and these are things that I kind of knew already, but I haven't done the research to find out, all right, how can I back up my words of knowing that, these recruiting rankings, they're a little bit different than it's perceived, right, from the average fan or even myself at some points in times, right? Abdul Carter, he was a low 4-star linebacker, right, out of high school. We saw where he got drafted. James Pierce was rated the number 21 defensive end in the nation. James Pierce. Okay, so if you watch college football, you know what that is. Mike Green, anybody's aware who Mike Green is, he was a low 3-star. And I believe he was a wide receiver. I know that sounds kind of wild, but I think that's the truth there. So I just encourage everybody. Two things here that I have learned since diving into this. Number one is that when you look at these rankings, right, and you look at the number one defensive end in the nation, and then you go look at the number 20 defensive end in the nation, right? That could be 100, it could be 200 spots nationally, right? So you could be looking at the number 5 player in the nation or the number 200th player in the nation, right? There's not a lot of difference there, right? I mean, Damari Simeon, D tackle for us, over on 3, he's rated like the number 65 player in the nation, top 10 defensive tackle. Now, 247, I believe he's a 3-star, right? Not rated very highly. I want to play their film, but I'm going to hold off on doing that. So I encourage you to, right? This isn't me. I'm not, backing up, right? This isn't for me to back up LJ or Ohio State with what they're doing. This is just simply me talking about the things that go through my head on a daily basis when I sit here and I think about this, and I want to understand, what the heck's going on, man? And there's proof of, right, lower ranked kids getting the job done. Like there's an overwhelming, right, truth to that. And also the other way as well, right? These high star kids not panning out to be all they are. So I don't know. I think sometimes I get caught up in where Ohio State's class stands nationally because I'm so competitive. I want my team to be number one. It's like, all right, if we don't have a top 5 class, it's crap. But how do you find out if you have a number 1 or a number 2 or number 3? Those rankings I just got done talking about, how skewed they can be at times. The Chris Olave is at a 3-star going first round in the draft, so I'm saying these are not for sure things here. These are things that I've had to like sit back and realize. And again, if somebody here is thinking I'm trying to make excuses about what's going on or whatever, we're going to dive into that a little bit too. I'm not, man. I'm just telling you my way of thinking and how I actually think when I do this. Case in point, Kari Wilder, 6'4", 255-pounder, the number 241st player in the nation, the number 23 defensive end, right? He's been to 2 camps this year, plays top of the line high school footballers, and he's run MVP at both of those camps, right? Ohio State thinks he can come in as a freshman and contribute to this team, right? So let's look, man. Kari Wilder, Carter Meadows, right? Why are we so in love with Carter Meadows when we got Kari Wilder in here? Why? And I understand why I'm not really even looking for an answer. I get it, but I break these things down for myself because, that's what I use when I'm, looking at these recruits and looking to see what they're going to do in college and why I'm getting upset if we're losing these recruits. Sorry, man. It's hard to look at this chat and talk at the same time. I just saw a chat that said somebody's losing viewers. Probably me, because I'm sucking or something. Oh, no, they weren't even talking about me. Okay. All right, cool. Good stuff. But I know that I have a lot to get better on here. But so, man, I know it's difficult, dude. I'm very passionate about this too. But for me, when I go watch Kari Wilder's film, right, here we go. I'm going to share this on the screen right now. We're going to break down and just look at Kari Wilder and what he did on the field, man. And you tell me how he compares to a player like, Carter Meadows. This is a 6'4", 255-pound defensive end, right? Already, look at him running these players down, and this is top competition in the state of California. And you saw what he did at the Rivals camp, right? Now, granted, those drills that they run there, I mean, they're really pro defense, right, compared to the offensive lines, but he's still, all those other defensive ends were there. Deuce Gerald's was there. There was a lot of other defensive ends there that were rated higher than he is. And, he won MVP. I mean, he was smashing everybody that got put in his way. So I'm trying to change my view of the way I look at classes and stuff, right? So when I look at Kari Wilder, um, we, we had to have an impact defensive end in this class, right? Can we all agree on that? We had to have a player that could come in, a star defensive end, one that we think can come in, contribute as a freshman, possibly, but somewhere along the lines of somebody that can take over this defensive end position at Ohio State and be the next sack leader, right? That's what we want. You know what I'm saying? Here you go. This is that guy right here. Ohio State views him as that type of recruit. But the issue is that when we look at him, we see, oh, he's the number 241st player ranked in the nation. Okay. Who ranks those players? A bunch of people watch this, or one person watches it. He gives his opinion of the player, and they decide to rank him somewhere on a sheet. Like, seriously, think about what these rankings are, guys. Yes, a lot of them can be right from time to time, but it's not a perfect system. There's not a bunch of difference between the number 1 defensive end in the nation and the number 20 defensive end in the nation. I just gave you, I don't know how many examples of lower rated defensive ends going in the first round in some of these classes, right? So it's a difficult thing, man, to get caught up in that. But, you know, I just wanted to share this side of it, because here's Kari Wilder, and you go on, you're like, okay, right? So if you can get past the ranking and you can watch his film and you can trust these coaches, then you can have that confidence like, okay, all right, we got that defensive end in the class that we wanted. We got somebody that can come in here and do the dang thing. Kari Wilder, right? We got our 5-star defensive end. Because when you say you want a 5-star defensive end, what you really want is a defensive end that can come and put the product on the field, right? Nobody's concerned with what Tyleik Williams was rated on our defensive line last year. All they were concerned about was that he was a beast when he was in there doing the thing, right? Nobody's concerned with what Josh Fryer was rated last year as our right tackle. He just did a good enough job to win us a national title. Those are the players I want, the players that can go on the field and get the job done. So you got that aspect of it. Then you got the aspect that, dude, this is Ohio State. This is Body by Mick Marotti, right? This is Ryan Day. This is this elite coaching staff, the development that they can do here. So there's Kari Wilder. Before I get into that developmental side of it, man, I want to pull up, bro, I'm going to tell you, I know I feel like a homer a lot of the times on here, and I am coping hard. Yeah, I mean, some people, you guys can call it that if you want, but I could care less what you think I'm doing. I'm just sitting here giving you guys some information and my thoughts on the manner. So right now I'm talking more positively. At the end of this, I'll give you my take on certain things. I'm just trying to give you guys all the information. There's a lot more than just, oh my God, Ohio State sucks at recruiting. You got to dive into this and figure out why decisions are being made, right? Why is this to the best that we can? We're not the freaking coaches. I'm not a college football coach, so I can't sit here and say I know better than them. Long story short, I trust the coaching staff one way or the other, but there's still some things that it's like, dang, man, I wish this would change. Okay, let's get to it. Damari Simeon just committed to the Buckeyes, defensive tackle, 280-pound, 6'3", rated the number 201st player in the nation, the number 26 defensive tackle in the nation. Again, let's just watch this. I want you guys to watch his film and go watch the number 10 defensive tackles film in the nation, and somebody break down to me why there is such a big gap in these players. That's what I want you to do, right? But Damari Simeon, I mean, bro, the first step that he has is elite. I mean, he has an elite first step. He has elite hands. Okay, he might have to work on some technique, lower body strength, things like that. But Bro, look at this guy just disrupting everything on this football field right now. Like, look at this, right? Again, watch his, and then go watch we love Deuce Gerald's, right? He's a very good defensive lineman that we all love, but go watch his film and then watch this dude's film here, and then and tell me how based off that film that Deuce Gerald's is going to have a more successful college career than this player right here, right? I can't do that. When I look at this and I go watch Deuce Gerald's film, I think, oh dang, those are two pretty elite football players. You know what I'm saying? So we got Damari in our class as well, and then we're on to the more developmental side, like I was talking about in this program, and that's the newest defensive lineman we got, Cameron Brickle, right? 6'2", 305, the number 537th player in the nation, the number 62 defensive tackle in the nation. Well, when you add a player like this, I'm going to pull his film up. I want you guys to watch it. When you add a player like this with this size, this athleticism, to a developmental school like Ohio State, I really think it's up to the kid, man, on how far he takes this thing. You know what I mean? And I like the, the type of player that Cam Brickle is with his athleticism and his size. Very rare to find those, but he's rated as the number 62 defense tackle nation, but was offered by all the big schools, right? Offered by all of them. Everybody wanted this player. So I like that Ohio State got this pickup. So as of right now, there's a part of me that can be and wants to be upset about the misses that we've had on the defensive line. And then there's a bigger side of me that trusts the coaches and understands why we're not signing those Luke Wafels and Carter Meadows, and agrees with us, not because to sign those players, we would have had to pay an astronomical amount of money, right? So it's different. You got people on the side of it like, hey, dude, this is the market. We got to pay the market or we're going to fall behind, So we'll see, man. We got some remaining prospects out there. We got Jameer Perez, 6'4", 360. You guys know how I feel about Jameer Perez in this class. Glenville product, committed to Florida right now. Been kind of silent there. Everybody is just kind of assuming this dude is going to flip right to Ohio State. I'm there as well. I hope this guy's a Buckeye. Again, you got a 6'4", 360-pound. That's a one tech. That's a nose tackle right there. A lot of people are thinking Cam Brickle's coming in to be that nose tackle. Well, in interviews, that's not what he's being recruited for. He's not going to go somewhere that runs the 3-down lineman or where he's going to be a nose tackle, right? That's not really what a lot of defensive linemen want to do. So we'll see where he goes there. But so you got Jameer Perez and Deuce Gerald's that kind of round out this defensive tackle class. Could we land both? Yeah, we could. Matter of fact, we got Deuce Gerald's coming on our show tomorrow at 1 p.m., right? So if you guys want to get an idea and not read message boards and not read articles written by people that need clicks, if you guys want an idea, right, of what you think the Deuce Gerald's recruitment is going to do, tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. I know it's a different time, but it's the time that worked for him. So we wanted to make that happen. But to be honest with you, I don't have strong feelings about Deuce Gerald's being in this class when we see everything that's going on, right? So I'm going to leave it at that and kind of dive into my reasoning why here in a minute. But the remaining defensive end targets, we only got one in the class. So we're looking pretty good at defensive tackle. We got our numbers. I believe we got the skill, right, that can come in and develop and do what they need to at the defensive line. Defensive end, KJ Ford, Landon Barnes. KJ Ford, the number 116 player in the nation, the number 15 defensive end. Landon Barnes just recently went down in the rankings, the number 139 player in the nation, number 18 defensive end. right? You look at that. You're looking at the number 18 and the number 15 defensive end of the nation. You're not going to be able to explain to me why those rankings, right, are the way they are. When you look at these guys, two very good defensive ends, we know that I've heard that Landon Barnes was really favoring Ohio State. That was the intel I was getting. Just got a crystal ball for Ole Miss. Not that those mean anything from Con3 and Steve Wilfong over there, but that's kind of what it is, right? I was speaking to somebody this week and was told that KJ Ford, that's the one I had my eye on. That's the one that I thought had a bigger chance of becoming a Buckeye out of those two Duncanville products. What up, Melo?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man? That was 7-on-7.
Oh, it's a blast, bro. An absolute blast. Let me finish this thought real fast before I completely lose it, right? So I'm talking about KJ Ford, and what I was told this weekend is that he wants to be a Buckeye. Okay, I haven't heard anybody else report that, but I do know who I spoke to was there and all that. I'll leave it at that. Told me KJ Ford wants to be a Buckeye. So we'll see what happens there. We miss on Landon, possibly KJ Ford, but those are the really only two targets that I know of. Melo, I kind of went through what I did on the weekend. Then I went through our defensive line recruiting right now, pulled up the highlights of the recruits that we got so far. And now I'm talking about the remaining recruits we have on the board. And I also gave a big old speech, right? Because we know everybody's tripping about Carter Meadows, right? And I said, I understand that freaking out, right? But I went through, for instance, James Pierce was the number 21 rated defensive end in the nation, right? Mike Green was a low 3-star. Abdul Carter, a low 4-star. Like, that's the route I chose to go and show that, hey, man, these rankings, and the examples I used was Kari Wilder, because I said when we want a 5-star, what we really want is somebody that can come in and contribute as a freshman or make a big impact on the field. Then I showed Kari Wilder's film, and I said, there he is. There's our defensive end that has everything that we want in our 5-star, but he's just not a 5-star. But that's that dude right there. That's that dude to come in. And I did the same thing with Damari Simeon, right? Hey, why do we want the 5-star defensive tackle? Because we think he can come in and improve this room immediately. There you go. There's Damari Simeon. There's that dude, right? So that's where I'm at right now. I'll let you take a moment. If you want to add anything to that, go on a longest diatribe that you want, because then we're going to dive into my understanding of Ohio State's approach to this NIL.
That's exactly where I was about to go, so let's just dive right into it. Start us off. Well, that's where I want to go.
Okay, do you want to start, or you want me to start on my understanding?
You can start on your understanding, and I'll piece it in.
Gotcha. All right, so oh my God, Ohio State is not paying what these schools are paying. Holy crap, why is Ohio State not even being competitive in their offers, right? Here we go. It's my understanding that this House settlement that was passed, there are several things in the House settlement, the judgment by that judge, several things included in that. Payments to past players to 2016, scholarship, roster limits. There was all kind of things. But in that, there's the revenue sharing, the $20.5 million that each school has, right? And every school can divvy that up as much as they want. I have heard Ohio State's giving $14.5 million, right, to football, okay? Then you have the other side. You have the NIL go NIL, whatever that clearinghouse that they came up with. That's separate, man, okay? So you have the revenue sharing that the school has to divvy out, right? And they have to divvy that out between all the position groups, all the players, everything. So $14.5 million sounds like a lot of money, but when you divvy it out to that many, I mean, look at the first round wide receivers we got in there. If you give $2 million to the wide receiver room, there's 10 of them in there. That's $200,000 each. Okay. Not a lot of money in the revenue sharing. Then you have the NIL side of it, which is the NIL go, meaning that, okay, if anything above that revenue sharing has to be a deal, right, on the name, image, and likeness. It has to be a fair deal. Now, what they said is that 75% of the NIL deals that were signed last year with private companies would not have passed, right? But they said 90% of the deals last year that were written between public companies in the school would have passed. Okay. So you have that aspect where, right, they're going to come up with a number to give a player, then it's got to clear the clearinghouse. And we'll see if that happens or not, right? But I think personally, right, you have Ohio State following those rules. This is my understanding, right? You have Ohio State following those rules. And I think that they are offering these players part of their revenue share, just letting them know, hey, this is available to you for the revenue sharing. Now, what I don't know, if Ohio State is adding in that number the potential NIL deals that they could get after they're signed through the clearinghouse. I don't know if that's happening. There are some schools out there that are playing this game of giving a bunch of upfront money before this thing officially starts and getting these deals signed, thinking they're going to go through right before it actually goes into place. And then you got some schools out there that are just saying, screw it. We're going to fight you in court and we're going to beat you and we're going to lose, right? So there's that aspect of it, man. And Melo, I could keep going on one other thing, but I want you to respond to that, and then I'll hit on that.
No, you're absolutely 100% correct. The thing that people have to realize is that Ohio State is going to follow the rules. But as the season goes along, and if it shows that the rules aren't going to be enforceable, just expect people to be flipped. And even if they are enforceable, right, then you're going to see a whole lot of decommitments from some of these schools, USC being one of the primary ones, right? They have 30 kids. They're giving kids slot corners $1 million NIL deals. They're paying Luke Walk over $1.4 million or something crazy, right? So, like, you're going to see kids flip one way or another. Ohio State has money. They just want to do it under the proper guidelines of what was agreed upon in the House settlement. So don't get all upset and lose your mind right now. We're going to be okay. The coaching here is the best. The development here is the best. And once they decide what they're going to do, as they see how it plays out, Ohio State will adjust. Early signing day isn't until December 4th. I only know that because my daughter signed at that time. So they got until December 4th to figure this out. And if you think they're not going to figure it out, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, you got different avenues to this as well, because number one, let's take a look at our recruiting class right now that everybody's tripping about. It's ranked the 5th in the nation, man. We got 2 5-stars. We got a lot of studs on this roster. And you know for a fact they want to be Buckeyes, because the Buckeyes are not paying the most for high school players right now. Why? Because they're following the rules, plus that's what they've always done. Now, why have they always done that? Because they have a specific structure in place, NIL payments, right, for freshman, sophomore. Now, why do they have that in place? Locker room, okay? And where I was this weekend, added into all the parents and players that we've talked to, I will tell you this. It is known, right, at least in the circles I'm in, that Ohio State has the best locker room and the best culture in the nation. It's not really debatable. Based off my experience these past couple weeks, there's a lot of schools that have the issues of when you got a freshman coming in that's never played ball, making more than a junior that's going to be your backup this year, or sometimes your starter, right? So that's one of the issues here, is that let's say Ohio State's just not paying that upfront money. Well, maybe they're not paying it because if they pay it this year, right, then those 5-stars are going to be making a lot of money. But the 5-stars next year, if this court case holds up, they're hardly going to be making anything compared to that. So how's that going to look to a freshman coming in next year seeing, well, last year, this 5-star got $1 million. Why am I only getting $250,000, right? So behind that is the culture, right? The thing that's wearing everybody out that people are saying is an excuse. The people is saying that we don't want to hear it anymore. That's just an excuse. LJ's old. He sucks. He's missing on guys. He just can't do it anymore. LJ's age could be a factor in this. It could be. I'm not saying it's not. But what we haven't done is completely failed at defensive line recruiting. What we haven't done is failed at recruiting in general. Chris Henry Jr., Caden Dixon-Wyatt, Blaine Bradford. I mean, Sincere Johnson. I can keep going on the absolute studs that we have in this class. So, I don't know the answers. I don't know if Ohio State is going to be the smarter one in this role here. All I know is they're trying to follow the rules, whatever understanding they have of it. Whether that understanding is true or false, I don't know. But whatever understanding they have, plus the fact that they really focus on locker room culture and stuff like that, is giving us these results. And the honest truth about it is these results is the number 5 class in the nation with a lot of studs, and we're not having to pay a $2 million deal per year for the next 3 years to a freshman defensive end that hasn't done anything on the field yet, right? I don't know. That's just the truth.
100% correct. And then, Devin, can you remind the people? I just wanted to ask you a question. How many scholarship roster players did we lose in the spring window to the transfer portal?
None.
Exactly, because the culture, the payment structure works. We're not going to get every elite 5-star because some people just going to want the money. I mean, honestly, that's just what it is. But we'll get the right players that fit this culture that are elite. And we have the best coaching staff in terms of developing in the country, in my opinion. So you take the combination of that and you still have an elite class. When's the last time Ohio State finished out of the top 5 in recruiting? I think it was, 2019? Like Ryan Day's first year of recruiting was like the first time that the last time that they finished outside the top 5. So we're always getting elite classes. We have the best coaching staff, and we have the best and biggest fan base. So everything will be okay. I understand people freaking out. I think it's natural. And honestly, I can speak for myself. I don't know about Dev, but I used to be one of those people freaking out. But in terms of doing this same thing, what me and Devin are doing, we talk to a lot of these recruits. We talk to a lot of the parents. And yes, a lot of these recruits that we're missing on, they absolutely 100% wanted to be Buckeyes. But, I mean, the money was just so astronomical that these other schools are willing to pay that may or may not hold up legally when it goes to court, which will or will not allow that player to be eligible for the season. Ohio State just doesn't want to do that, and they don't want to mess up the culture in the locker room. There's a lot of kids that are super elite at their position group. I'm talking about top 3 at their position that are like, that's attracted to them, knowing that if they become sophomores, a freshman's not coming in making more money. So it goes both ways. People, we just got to be patient and see this through and just trust the coaching staff, because at the end of the day, by us complaining and sitting here and griping is basically saying we don't trust Ryan Day, we don't trust Hartline, we don't trust LJ, we don't trust OG Walt or the best GM in the country in Pantone. So, what are we really doing? We just have to relax and just play the game out and see how it develops.
I know, man. It does get confusing because I get those superficial emotions of Carter Meadows signing with that team. And my first emotion is pissed at Ohio State for not getting the job done. That's my first emotion. I want to get on here. I want to shoot a video about how LJ's slacking. What the heck are you doing, Ohio State? But then I sit and I think about it for a little bit. And I realize we just won a national title, right? We were projected to win it again this year, right? We were the favorites for that. I'm not sure if we still are. But the question is, as a fan, do you think we have the talent on this team to win a national title this year again? I do. I wholeheartedly do. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Will we? I don't know. What about 27 season, the 26 season? What are odds going to be there? I promise you we're going to be the favorite, right? Okay, so I don't know. It just, to me, I choose what you said, Melo, to trust this coaching staff, right? This is what they do. They're in it. And as much as I can go down that rabbit hole of saying, well, Ohio State must not understand the opportunity they have right now to pay these players or to do this or to do that. And then I sit back and I say that out loud, and it's like, Devin, I really think the national champs don't understand what's going on in college football right now. Is that a real thing that you just said out loud, dude? Right? Like that's just where I am with it. And yes, I'm sure some of these coaches from time to time screw up on the recruiting trail. I'm sure some of them maybe don't call enough a certain person. They might not do this enough. But let me tell you something. Each recruit wants different things. Some recruits want called every day. Some recruits want called once a month. Some recruits want told a certain thing. Other recruits want told something else. So I'm telling you that to say, hey, man, some of these guys, they just might not fit in. It just might not be the fit there. It might not happen. There's so many variables involved in this. And until I see otherwise, until Ohio State goes out here and plays football and has a losing season, or we get halfway through the season and I realize we don't stand a chance at anything, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride, man. I'm going to enjoy the players that we're getting, the type of recruits and families that are joining the Buckeyes, and understanding how much they love the game of football. Because the truth is that if you got that love for the game, then your number one want is going to be developed to go to the NFL. Okay. Now what's happening now, this is just the truth of the matter, is that love of the game, that want for development sometimes isn't worth fill in the blank, 500,000, million, 200,000, 100. It's not worth that to some of these recruits. Now, I don't know their family situation. I don't know their mentality. I don't know, but that's just the truth of the matter, right? You got to offer to go to Ohio State for 500,000. Another team offers you $1.5 million that is nowhere near the program of Ohio State. You know that as a recruit. Shoot, man, right? Hey, is the love of the game and the developmental aspect, right, worth that million to me at this point in time when my family's going through this right now? It might not be. You know what I mean? It might not be. And I'm not judging any one of it, but there's so many variables that are involved in this recruiting thing. And we just won a national title. We got Julian saying, Jade, we got the two best players in college football on our team. And I'm sure, dude, I can't wait to read the comments about how we are coping, we are making excuses and all that stuff. No, I'm just choosing to be positive, enjoy being an Ohio State fan, and waiting until I see what these recruits are going to do on the field, right? If 3 years goes by and Cam Brickell doesn't do anything and never steps on the field and causes trouble and stuff, just then I can say, well, dang, man, that was a miss. We really screwed that one up. I don't know, man. I just don't get caught up, man. I don't get caught up in the stargazing. Because I care about recruiting because I want Ohio State to win football games, right? My football fan side of it. That's why. So I'll wait and see if these guys can win some football games, and I bet you they freaking will. I bet you Brady Edmonds and Tavian St. Clair can team up with Cam Brickell, Damari Simeon, Kari Wilder, and Jameer Perez in 3 or 4 years and win a national title. I've seen it done with less before, and so have you if you're an Ohio State fan. So
absolutely. So I see in the chat someone said there was a Texas podcast that said they're going to blitz almost every play on Julian saying, I cannot believe that, number one, with our weapons, because if you're going to blitz, someone's going to be open and we'll just shred that defense apart. So if that's their game plan, I hope it is, because that's going to be a definitely easy dub, in my opinion. But in terms of the recruiting, we're going to be fine, man. People, this is Ohio State. This is the Block O. At the end of the day, we won a natty. Why? Because of culture. If the culture wasn't so strong, we wouldn't have recovered after the team up north game. After November 30th, this team would have been done. They would have folded against Tennessee. Instead, they went on a historic run, beating every single team by double digits, and they would have blew out Texas if it wasn't for self-inflicted wounds. So there's that as well. So honestly, I can understand why Coach Day doesn't want to mess up the culture. Like it's a fine line that he's walking, but we just proved that his whole process and technique and thought process of what he's doing and how he's running this works, because we won a natty last year and we're in a great position to go ahead and run it back this year again. So people just trust the process, trust the coaching staff. We're going to be great.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt, man. And I'm one of those ones that believe that it was definitely not our talent that won us the national title last year. It definitely was not talent that did that, right? The talent wasn't enough to win the game at Autzen, right? Or win the rivalry game. It didn't work then, right? What pulled through in that moment, that culture, that brotherhood, there's no way around that. If you really know your team, if you really know the Buckeyes, you understand how much the culture and brotherhood won that national title last year. You really, really do. So, I don't know. Again,
before we hop off, I just want to say something. Can fans? I know we're emotional. Like we love the Buckeyes. This is the biggest fan base in all of sports. This is the best team in all of sports. But we can't harass parents of players, please. It's not a good look to the fan base. It's not a good look to the players and the parents. And I mean, if they're trying to tell you something about recruiting, trust them. They've gone through it. There's nobody better to listen to. Like I promise you do not know more than parents who have gone through the recruiting process with their kids. Like, don't be ignorant, don't be trifling, don't think you're more important than what we are, including me and Devin. Like, when me and Devin have questions, we go and seek and find out from reliable sources, basically through people that are going through the process. We don't always put out names or we don't put out actual, like, numbers, but for you guys to be arguing with D. Sanchez on X is just, it's mind-boggling to me. I don't understand where you're coming from. I don't understand where you get the kahunas to even do that, because they've gone through the process. So if they're telling you this is what kids are doing or this is what's going on, believe them. She has no reason to lie to you at all.
Yeah, that's man. No, I feel you there, but I'm totally on board with everything said there. I personally don't believe anybody in this chat is doing that, right? That knows, and every fan base has those people. But something that's honestly, right, and again, I'm telling you guys, I'm being as honest as I can with you guys, that my first emotions are those emotions of what the heck is Ohio State doing? Why can't we do what USC, scum, Oregon, why can't we do what they're doing on the recruiting thing? Okay, well, turn the tides here. Let me ask you guys. You guys want to trade places with USC, right? Scum, because you want Carter Meadows. You wish we could do that, right? Oregon, who else? Why? Alabama got Xavier Griffin, so you went there. Okay, that's the recruiting side. Those are the teams that are beating us right now, right? That we're so mad that we can't get on their level. Really? Let's go to the football side of it. Question, chat. Do you want to trade, right, Ohio State's football team for USC's football team? Do you want to do it? Coaching staff and all. Let's just do a swap. Everybody swap. They got all the good recruits, right? They're number one class. Let's go get them. Let's swap. Let's flip them. All right. Yes or no there. Scum, they took Carter Meadows from us. They're probably going to land Savion Hyder, maybe, right? They're getting some players. Do we want to flip-flop? Trade rosters, coaches, trade programs? I'm good. I'm good. Oregon, I'm good. I like right where we're at, man. There's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be things we're not happy with. Yeah, shoot, maybe some of these coaches made some mistakes on the recruiting trail. Maybe their style isn't what it should be. Yes, maybe we should be offering more money. But the truth is, whatever they're doing, I like the results. I personally do. Number one, right? You see the culture. No players transferred. Nobody's getting in a bunch of trouble. We're not on the center of the news for all kind of NCAA infractions and everything else. We just won a national title. We're going to be in the playoffs again this year. And if you make it to the playoffs, you got a shot of winning that thing. I'm just not trading. I'm not trading anybody. I don't think there's a better team to root for right now at this current landscape of college football than Ohio State. I truly, wholeheartedly believe that. And let me tell you something. Being at the OT7, I was around more than just SFE players. I was around everywhere. If you guys know my personality, you know that I will go talk to people. I talked to, Tristan Keys, number 1 wide receiver in the nation. He rode in the front seat with me in the van this week. I talked to his dad, I believe, or one of his family members a lot this week. And I spoke with several other people, and the thing floating around about Ohio State is that locker room, is that culture. Like, that's a known thing, man. Eric McFarland, the 2028 wide receiver, you saw him at the OT7s, had them Ohio State sleeves and gloves on, man. He loves Ohio State. Loves it, man. So, right, there's going to be positives and negatives, right, to everything in life, but in particular, the way that recruiting is going now. The positive part is that, hey, man, if Ohio State's offering less money, then the only kids that are going to side with Ohio State are kids that really want to be there. No ulterior motive. They're not using Ohio State to get a bigger bag. They're not leveraging Ohio State. They want to be a freaking Buckeye, dude. They want to be a part of that culture, that brotherhood. That's what they want to be a part of. There's no ulterior motives there. That's what it is. That they want to come in, work their way up the depth chart. They didn't get paid $2 million, so they're not going to come in thinking, boy, look how much these coaches loves me. I best be starting next year. And that's just the truth, man, of where college football, right, is going. That's not everybody's truth, but, right, let's just be real with each other here on the, you can see some of a person's character by the decisions that they're making. Like, is that a fact? Or, I mean, am I tripping here? So you can look at some decisions being made, and now we don't have all the details, but if you're one of those that does have the details and the decision that was made there was picked for money, that they would have come here, except for they got offered millions more, then it's like, okay, right? What does that mean? And it could mean so many different things. You don't know where people are at. But again, long story short, and just to keep it what it is, I trust the coaches. I trust Ryan Day. There's really nothing else for me to say other than that. I tried to break everything down for you guys to my understanding. And we'll have more. We're here at the Buckeye Boys. We're really diving into the NIL side of things. We're going to figure out what's going on here, why decisions are being made, what are the real rules, what is this? We got some messages out, waiting on some responses, so we'll have some more answers for you there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up greatly. And I'm in the dark because I'm not at my normal location. So, and I didn't want to just be off screen the whole time. So, yeah, that's why the lighting's different here. But in terms of, somebody just put it in the chat about Keon Keeley. You remember when everybody wanted Keon Keeley and we thought it was the end of the world that Keon Keeley flipped from Notre Dame and chose Bama over us because his mom loved Bama and stuff, and they gave a better NIL package? Well, I don't think he's never started a game, if I'm not mistaken. He doesn't get that much playing time. So what did we actually really miss out on? And this is what coaches have to decide. If they would have paid Keon Keeley top dollar and he came in making more money than JT or Jack Sawyer and never saw the field, how do you explain that? That would have destroyed the locker room. So, like, we just have to be patient. That's all I'm saying, including myself. I do get frustrated like Devin. Like, there's a lot of kids that we could miss out on that for sure would be Buckeyes if money wasn't the issue. There's no doubt about it. Like, that's just what it is. So, yes, of course, we're frustrated as well. We're fans just like you guys. But we have to trust the process and trust this staff.
Yep, 100%, man. You hit the nail on the head. So, again, let the process play out. all the way, right? And that's a 3 to 4 year process. So if you're not a patient human being, then I don't know what to tell you, so we'll see where it ends. It's looking like, Landon Barnes is committing tomorrow. We'll see how much that Ole Miss crystal ball is worth. But, Ohio State knows where they're at too. They know they got to go land one of these guys. So we'll see what they do. I'll just tell you what they're not going to do, and that's get in this pay-in match. It's not worth it to them. Again, at least what Ryan Day says is true. He says culture is his number one thing, right? Boy, his actions back that up too. He ain't giving a high school recruit not a dime more than what their structure says. There's a few that they'll go out on a limb, J.J. Smith, Caleb Downs, that they'll go out there for. But, I don't know. You can't have everything. You can't pay all these recruits, have the number one class, which that's what it requires, is to pay, okay, and have the culture that Ohio State has. You got to pick one, right? What do you want here? So I like where we're at. We'll see what happens. As far as the scum recruiting momentum they got going on, congratulations. We'll see how long that lasts. I love watching the crap talking online when you got new information coming out, right, about this settlement that's going on, the suing and whatnot, involving more coaches than originally thought about. So we'll see. But, dude, we got to get to this.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't have the music today, though, because of where I'm at.
That's all right,
But, yeah,
Melo.
we missed that one a few times, actually, now.
Yeah, everybody knows you've been slipping. It ain't a secret, right? Our stuff's all out in the
you
open now.
You haven't even been asking the questions. Like, let's be for real. You've been traveling the world, going to Miami, hanging out with future first-round picks, future number one QBs at Ohio State. You just been living a life down in South Beach, man. Did you run into Stephen A. Smith while you were there?
Nah, but I ran into Tom Loy. I ran into all those 247 guys.
Did you talk to him?
And yo, Tom Loy from 247. You're not very friendly, homie. You know what? I came and tried to talk to you, be nice to you, and I got blown off. Like, look at that little peasant. Who's this peasant? I don't know that peasant. He blew me off, dude.
Man, we're gonna have to come up with a nickname for 247 now. We got Con 3. We're gonna come up with a nickname for 247. You can't blow Dev off from the Buckeye Boys. What?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest though. I'm gonna keep it real. I tried to downplay. I had the time of my life this weekend. It was a blast, man. Talking to Naeem Lawrence and Nasir McCoy. We interviewed him. I met Jameer Brown and his family. Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. It was really cool. Cool to see him in person. And, I told him JJ's little brother is going to come on the show. And we got the end there. And maybe we'll get JJ on, dude. JJ's bigger in person, just to let you know. I don't know if you saw a picture of him beside me or not, but that's he a big old boy.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, this will be a good one. All right, here we go. We're continuing this. You can win a ticket to the Washington game this year. So here we go. Which team upset Ohio State at the Horseshoe to begin the 1957 season and then tied the Buckeyes at the start of the 1961 title-winning season? That's a hard question. You gotta be OG Thug Life Buckeye to know this one. Not Oklahoma, right? It's not the SEC. It's not the Big Ten. Yeah, John.
Nevada will be on tomorrow at 8.
Yeah, Nevada and B Moses. Yeah, they'll be starting tomorrow at 8:10. Wonder if that's been 60 seconds yet. No, probably not. I just told everybody it's not the SEC or in the Big Ten. Dude, look up. Where am I looking up?
We got 10 seconds, baby.
Okay, 10 seconds.
Yep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time.
Steely got it, dude.
Oh, wow. Right at the buzzer.
Steely got it.
Stilly is back on the
TCU,
board.
man. Yeah,
He wants his number 1 spot back.
I still didn't get it. He's still one behind, dude.
I
Dennis
know.
came in late too and got it.
That's because
Yes.
Stilly has been taking too many days off.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he put it in there a long time ago, actually. That's why he said look up.
Oh, my bad, Steely. Did you? I didn't even.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
he did,
scrolling
dude. Yeah, he got that right. He got that right a long time ago. My bad, Steely. I didn't see it. That's why I said look up. I was like, what am I looking up at?
Yeah.
I went like this.
Heck yeah.
Looked up in my room. All right. Yeah, I saw somebody put in the chat just something real fast. They said, you got the Dylan Stewarts that we miss on, highly ranked, really good. Yeah, you have those too, right? The point of that is that, I mean, people act like these recruiting rankings are like concrete, solid. Hey, if you're a top 100 player, you're a definite NFL prospect. Nah, that ain't the way that works. But Melo, any final thoughts, man? We got Deuce Gerald's on tomorrow.
That's what I'm about to say. Hey, tomorrow 1 o'clock, we got special guests coming on for you. You're not going to miss this. He's finally coming on. Big Deuce Gerald's from Collins Hills High School. We're going to try to introduce him to Buckeye Nation, get to know him, see if we could get any feedback about which way he's leaning or not. So tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, for sure. As far as PJ Dean goes, I'll just tell you guys on our end, we had a bunch of communication, came on the show. What he said on the show was all positive news, and there's been no communication since then. So it's looking like, whatever happened there, I don't know. But it's not looking like we're in that sweepstakes anymore. But I agree. I would have loved to have PJ
me
Dean.
too. I'm with you on that, Charles.
Just on the field wherever. I mean, just let him eat and train and fill in where he gets in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Natty time, perfect, man. Jake Cook, 3-star, running with the twos. I know. Well,
every class, I think every room, if it was perfect scenario, would have a Jake Cook player in that room because I'm telling you, he's going to transcend and transform that offensive line room. By the time he's a senior, that offensive line room is going to be full of dogs because they're going to take on his personality. That's what he is.
Yeah. And I can't wait to say this either. I just got to say it so I can hear all the haters in the chat. Kari Wilder is as good as any defensive end in this 2026 recruiting class. And Sam Greer is just as good as any tackle in this recruiting class. Brian Bradford is just as good as any safety in this recruiting class. Caden Dixon-Wyatt, Chris Henry. I mean, we got some ballers. Max Riley as a interior offensive lineman. I mean,
Tucker
we act
Smith,
like
Aaron Thomas. We got some ballers, man. We got some players. Sincere, CJ Sana. CJ Sana is a problem. Go watch. If you haven't watched CJ Sana's film in a while, go watch his highlights after this. That dude is crazy. And he's only been playing for 1 year.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I'm trying really hard to learn more about the sport of football so I can come on here and we can watch film and I can break it down. I put a lot of time into that. So I want to be able to go watch a recruit and see and be able to break it down and understand, hey, what type of player is this dude? So something I've been working on. But hey, we appreciate you guys. Tune in tomorrow at 1. It might be our only show tomorrow. We might go again. Who the heck knows? But we love you guys. We love the support you guys been giving us here on the Buckeye Boys channel. Yes, we stream on Scoop as well. We are affiliated with Scoop, but we also have our own channel, the Buckeye Boys. Go check that out, Buckeye Boys with the Z. Subscribe to that if you haven't already. We're big time into recruiting, interview a lot of recruits, a lot of top players, and we've got a lot of good interviews coming up. If you're a Buckeye fan, you might want to go subscribe and hit that alert bell, because players like Brandon Ennis, JJ Smith potentially are going to be coming on the show, and I know y'all want to hear from them. So we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I.O.